So when I met Sonia, the first time I heard Sonia play drums, I was like, whoa, Spirit is moving through you in a way that is rare. Rare. And to watch you from being behind the drums to standing up and being in front and sharing your voice is so powerful and such a blessing and such a healing for so many people. And I appreciate you so much. You're beautiful. And that offering was beautiful. Thank you. What am I talking about? Love, thank you. There we go. What am I doing here? I feel like we just had church. We're having church up in here. Exactly, Jenna. Exactly. Oh, my goodness gracious. So, as I said, the talk title is Love, the Ultimate Fear Disruptor. Right? The Ultimate Fear Disruptor. So y'all know I like a good business tale, so let me tell you some things, okay? So when we think about the disruptor, right, we're here in the land of disruption, are we not? Right? And so when we think about a disruptor, this idea of something that comes along and interrupts the status quo, right, forever changing it. And so just to go along here with me on my business journey, the term disruptive innovation was actually coined by a professor named Clayton Christensen. He's at Harvard Business School. And it usually means a creative product or an idea that is usually an up-and-coming company, and that company usually is like, the underdog, has a few resources, but it overturns an industry, right? It has an idea, it has a new way of doing things, a new method that overturns the status quo. And many times that disruptive company becomes the leader in its space, right? So we're used to this. And so let me just give you a few examples, right? Walk you through a few business cases. So anyone ever hear of a company called Kodak? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. I see Scott back there like, of course, right? As he's on the cameras. And so Kodak we know as this, cameras. Wasn't Kodak like the instant camera, the Polaroids? Was that a different company? Okay, well, y'all just follow me with this, okay? But here's the thing that's interesting. In 1975, Kodak invented the first digital camera. And a guy named Steve Sessom was the engineer. He invented it. And he was told by upper management that it was sort of cute, but don't tell anyone about it, right? Digital camera. We don't need that because Kodak was such a brand, right? Their brand was a Kodak moment where you could capture photographs and capture images of you and your family and all these wonderful moments. And it did not take advantage of the digital camera that it already had. By 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy. And it just barely exists, right? Another example is Blockbuster. How many people remember Blockbuster? Yes, Blockbuster was the spot, was it not? To go get your movies and your popcorn and everything, right? Thespot.com, exactly, right? So 2004, Blockbuster is at its peak with 9,000 stores worldwide. It is the #1 brick and mortar location to go get your videos, go get your movies, all of those things, right? Well, in 2000, Blockbuster turned down an opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million, okay? And the CEO of Blockbuster thought Netflix was a joke. The dot-com hysteria is completely overblown, I think is what he said. And I'm sure he was probably thinking, along with the rest of the board of directors, who wants to have DVDs mailed to them in the mail, right? That doesn't even make any sense. People want to go into the store and get their stuff, get their videos. And now we know what's up, right? There's no Blockbuster anymore. Netflix is everywhere, right? These are examples of disruption, right? Of where something that is established, a brand, a company, a person, a system is established and going along with the status quo, and then there's something that comes out of left field that typically was in their midst already. It was already there. But the leadership at the time could not see it, right? Could not take hold of it, could not leverage it, could not ride it to the next wave. And so this is an example of how things get disrupted. If we look at the larger world, we look at our social, our community, our world, other examples of disruption would be Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, right? It disrupted a very ingrained legal oppression and suppression of people that was legal, right? And the nonviolence movement led by Dr. King was a disruptor. It disrupted the status quo and forever changed the world. Nelson Mandela is another example, disruptive, right? A disruptive force that dismantled apartheid in the country. And so the thing that I'm getting at here is that disruption is about challenging the status quo and flipping the status quo and transforming it and perhaps even leading it, being the next level of shining, of leading, of owning that market position. So what does this have to do with us in spiritual community when we talk about, Blockbuster and all these other things? We can think of Airbnb, all these other things that were disruptive forces. And here is the thing. Right now, there is a company called Fear Incorporated. It is a magnificent, massive company. Have you heard of it? No? You know its products. So the products of Fear Incorporated are hate, violence, oppression, all the isms, right? Religious extremism, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, like all of these things, right? That is the product of this company called Fear, right? And this company called Fear also sows division, and it sows divisiveness, and it sows this false concept that we are somehow separate from each other and separate from that which created us. And this company called Fear has its reach and its grip in every part of our society. But we're seeing it really, really play out right now in our politics, right? And so the question for us becomes, if this is a company, and if you follow this metaphor with me, right, and this is a company, and we are experiencing the products of that company, then what is it that will disrupt that, right? What can stop that, right? What can flip and interrupt those products, right? And so what I am suggesting today is that love is the disruptor. Love is the thing that can dismantle the fear and the separateness and all of the things that we are seeing playing out in our world. And I'm not talking about lovey-dovey romantic love. That's something else, and it's beautiful, but that's not what I'm talking about. Right? I'm talking about love that Martin Luther King called agape love. Right? The Greeks called agape love. It is the highest form of love. It is the form of love that is unconditional. It is the way that God loves. It is supreme love. Right? And it is not that lovey-dovey. And sometimes agape love doesn't feel so good because it moves us to do things, to take risks, to change things, to shake things up, and it doesn't feel so good. Lovey-dovey love, romantic love is a different thing. Agape love is unconditional. It is the all-powerful. It is the thing that propels creation, and it creates, right? And so what's interesting is Ernest Holmes says that, first of all, you must have a firm conviction that God is love, and an equally firm conviction that when you apply this principle of love to any human problem, the very words you speak in your meditation or your treatment or your prayer will operate as law in the condition that confronts you and will neutralize or overcome everything that opposes it. Let me say that again. Ernest Holmes says that when you have a firm conviction that God is love, and when you apply this principle of love to any human problem, then the word you speak moves the law into operation to overcome it, to transform it, right? We have the power to speak into existence that which we desire. And let me tell you something. the things that you are maybe looking at right now that you don't agree with that's happening in the world, someone somewhere or some folks somewhere understand how this works and understand that you actually create and speak into existence that which you desire. Right? And so let's be on the side of love doing that versus being steeped in fear doing that. Right? Because the fear vibration is going to create competition and create barriers and create separation and create divisiveness and create ways that we tear each other down and ways that we attack each other and ways that we can compete with each other. That's what fear does. Because fear says that there is nothing greater, that there's some opposing force to the all that is. Right? There's some opposing force to the all that is. And love says, no, 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 no. There is only one power. There is only one presence, and it is love, and it is all powerful. Right? It is all powerful. And so when we think about agape love is the transformer, is the disruptor. Dr. King's words, and this is the beginning of Black History Month. And you know, it's interesting because in the past, I have not really celebrated any of the months that are for like Black history, women's history, Latino heritage, LGBTQ. And here's why. Not because I don't care about these things, but because I, at the time, thought the best way forward is to just normalize inclusion. Right? Let's just normalize inclusion. But what I'm seeing in the world is it's not normalized. So until it's normalized, we got to stand on it and call it out and celebrate the ways that we are unique and different, right? And so that has come to me, and that has been a way that I've evolved in my thinking. You know, I think because I have always attracted lots of different kinds of people, look at this room, that is a normal thing, and let's just normalize that. But most people don't live like that, right? Most people live and know only people like themselves. And so it's important then to, yes, let's shout and celebrate the ways that we are unique. And so in this community, we will be doing that until inclusion is normal, until it's just normalized, right? And so, oh, wow, thank you. Well, thank you very much. So Dr. King says he defined agape love as purely spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative. It is the love of God operating in the human heart. And he spoke of agape as a way to use nonviolence in race relations. He said at the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. When we rise to love on the agape level, we love men and women not because we like them, not because their attitudes and ways appeal to us, but we love them because God loves them. Here we rise to the position of loving the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that person does. Right? Yeah. So this is a very difficult concept when we're facing difficult things. But it is also a concept that flipped our world and changed the country. There is power in this concept. And yet, how do we walk that out? Right? Because to me, there's a part of this that feels like being a doormat. Right? Or condoning things that I don't agree with morally or ethically. Right? Or condoning certain behaviors, right? And so there's work to be done to understand what does it mean? What does it mean to, when we say love as a disruptive force, right? Because again, this is not about romantic love. This is not about being nice. There are times when loving someone or loving something at the highest level can be very uncomfortable for all involved, right? I love the community I just left. I loved that community. I love that community. And yet, the call that I had on my life required me to do something different, right? And that does not feel good to a lot of people. And yet, I love that community. And this morning, I bless my sister, Jennifer Bick, as she is giving her first talk at CSL San Jose. I bless her, and I love her. You know, but sometimes love, when we're talking at the highest level, it doesn't feel nice. Nice is performative, right? Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is remove yourself from a situation. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is insert yourself into a situation where you feel like you have no business being there, right? Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is put up a boundary, Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is release someone, right? And these things don't feel good, so we get confused because we think of love like, oh, I gotta be nice, oh, love is sweet, oh, love is kind. Yes, romantic love can feel like that, but agape love is about aligning with the divine, knowing the presence of God within your being, within your heart, and trusting and having faith that as you move from the highest place, from the highest space, as you move, that everything is working out in perfect order. And it's okay if people are upset. It's okay if you're upset, right? But when you're in love and when you trust love, what you know is that love is going to have the final word. My grandmother used to say, God has the final word. No matter what is going on. My grandmother, who had 2 master's degrees in library science and English, who was this beautiful, beautiful woman, incredibly brilliant, and who grew up in Alabama and lived in Alabama when it was legal to oppress people, right? And so what she knew to navigate through that, and my grandfather and all of my relatives, what they knew is that you have to trust that God has the final word. Yeah. And that there's a power greater than us, greater than human law, greater than what's been constructed by man. There's a power greater than that. That when you are aligned with it, you can overcome anything. Ernest Holmes or someone said, 1 plus God is a majority. Yeah. 1 plus God is a majority. Right? So here's what I want to invite you into. Whatever you are facing right now, facing today, get aligned with the divine. Get right with God and know the power of love within your own heart to express through you. Right? To express through you as that new business idea or that new whatever it is, or to look at out in our world and begin to get aligned around what is mine to do. Right? What is mine to do? And so let's talk about how do we let love be this disruptor in our world right now when there's so much fear being sown, right? When Fear Incorporated is on full blast, right? What do we do? What do we do right now? And so one of the things is you have got to face the fear. You got to face the fear. You know, the beautiful thing about Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes talks about denial, not in the sense of denying something exists, right, or pretending something doesn't exist, but he talks about how you can look at something that you do not want, you don't agree with, something that is something you want to see different. You can look at it, right, you can face it, and then immediately begin to affirm the truth, begin to know the truth, right, begin to supplant those negative thoughts and those fear thoughts with true thoughts. And so the thing is that it's okay to face the fear. Now, I know last week I said, let's take a little detox from media. I still agree with that, right? I still agree with that because for many of us, what is happening right now, our nervous systems are not used to this, right? The onslaught of negative news, our nervous systems are not used to this, right? So still take a detox from the media. But if you see something or something comes across your feed and it instills fear or fear crops up, face it and go, oh, notice it, observe it. Oh, I'm feeling fear. Okay, I'm feeling fear. And I'm going to breathe. I'm going to say a prayer now. I'm going to affirm the truth now. I'm going to radiate love now. I'm going to land and align in love right now. Right? That is the work. To see whatever it is, but not set up camp in it. Right? Not let it have power over us. Not let it hijack us. And what's happening now, I see so many of our beloveds on Facebook and other places, and they are saying, you know, we're going to resist, and we're going to do this. And here's the thing. We know this. What you resist persists. Right? So when you go with resistant energy, fight back energy, and this is not to say be a doormat. So there's a nuance here. But when you have a lot of resistant energy, it just makes the other thing that you're resisting larger. So the thing is to get to neutrality and get to love and get to God ordained, God designed, God downloaded what you're supposed to do, right? The actions that you're supposed to take. But just being in resistance and lashing out is the same energy that we say we don't want. And so we're just participating in that. Are y'all following this? Yeah? So this is really about, yes, if something happens and it brings up fear, Do your work, but don't set up camp in a fearful state. And don't keep consuming the products of Fear Inc. Right? Put the products down. Step away from it. Right? Step away from it. The other thing that I'm hinting at here is when you are being love to disrupt the fear that is happening, you have to do your spiritual practice. There's no way around it. And that is not the same as intellectual practice, right? Spiritual practice means you have to experience love. You have to be in love. You have to sit in love. You have to meditate so that you can be open to the divine presence, right? So that you can hear the voice of God. Sitting and being still, quiet the mind, having the discipline to sit and be receptive and to be open, right? So doing your meditation practice on a daily basis, or twice daily, or thrice daily, whatever it takes to get through the day, right? It also means that you're doing your prayer work, affirmative prayer, what we call spiritual mind treatment, which is where you are aligning your mind with the absolute capital T truth, and where you are speaking the word and you are casting your word onto the law so that it becomes actual manifestation, right? But you're speaking from a place of knowing the truth, not a place of begging and supplicating and fearing and wanting, right? But from a place of being anchored in what's absolutely true. These are the practices and tools we have that are made to help us get through this time. There's also having a practitioner, right? Having a practitioner or minister, someone that you go to for spiritual counsel, someone who can see the absolute truth when you can't see it. Someone who can guide you and direct you and support you and love you into more and more and more wholeness, right? This is the time to have your practitioner on deck. And let me tell you, your friends are not your practitioner, and your friends are fantastic. Your family is not your practitioner. My mom is not my practitioner, right? Even though she's the best practitioner I know, well, except for my practitioner. Sorry, Reverend Joan, if you're watching this. But, my mom is not my practitioner because there are times where we're too close, right? And sometimes I'm her backup singer, right? And she's my backup singer instead of being in the position of practitioner because we're too close, right? So your friends and your family can support you and love you, but that's not your practitioner. You need someone who is objective, who is wise, who is experienced, who has worked this teaching for a while and knows how to have demonstrations. That's your practitioner. Because that person can get you together when you need it, not just be your backup singer that makes you feel good. Right? Y'all following me? Yeah. So these are the tools that you have at your disposal. Spiritual community, us gathering here. It's so important for us to gather in person, for us to be connected, for us to break bread together, for us to celebrate together, for us to know the truth together, for us to sing together. Right? It's so important for us to do that because it is all supporting the fabric. I see this, it's like this love net, right? Those of you who meditate with me in the morning know we were a grid, right? There was this grid that was emerging in our meditations in the morning. And there's this grid of love that is holding us. And it's strengthened and it's amplified the more we're together in love, the more we speak love, the more we be love, the more we trust love. That grid of love is just amplified and amplified and amplified. So if you want to see the world transform, come in this door, right? Be together with community. We create this powerful vortex of transformation. We become a space and place where love can be a disruptive force, right? And then the last thing I want to share that is so powerful and so important for love to disrupt, right? Whether it is something in your life, perhaps Fear Incorporated is operating in your life in some way. Perhaps it is telling you you don't deserve a great relationship, or you don't deserve that job, or you're too old to do whatever, or you can't find a job because there's not enough jobs, or you can't do this because of that, or you don't have enough money, whatever it is, right? Y'all know what it is, right? Where Fear Incorporated has taken hold. And so the thing is really catching a vision of what it is you desire to experience. and then cultivate that vision like nobody's business. Water it, tend to it, get the weeds out, right? Cultivate that vision, because the vision is God within you. It is love within you. Love creates, right? In romantic love, the most powerful thing that can happen, one of the most powerful things in romantic love is the creation of another human being, right? Is the creation of another human being. And so in agape love, Spirit wants to create something through you and as you. And so the charge is, the call is to really cultivate that vision, to listen to that voice. This entire year is going to be about vision and vitality. Vision and vitality. Because vision feeds and it fuels and it sustains because it's creative. Right? So for each of us, it's really catching the vision of your life, your purpose. Right? Why are you here? What unique abilities do you have? Who are you called to serve? What are you called to do? Because each of us has that little whispering within us that we sometimes try to deny, or we act like it's not there, or we run from it. And one day it's going to catch up with you. Right? It's going to catch up with you. And so this is the time now, right now, to really catch the vision for your life and begin to live as visionaries. Imagine if each of us is living our divine purpose, each of us living out the vision God has planted within us. And there may be many visions and many permutations of it, but we say yes to one of them, right? We begin to live that out. Imagine if everyone was living their vision, Fear Inc. would have no place to root. It would have no place to be. It'd have no place to exist, right? If we're each living our vision. And so start being a visionary and not sitting on the sidelines, wishing you could do this and wishing you could do that. And oh, it's too late. And oh, look at that person doing that. Who do they think they are? Right? My favorite. Right. My favorite sound effect. That and ruh-roh are my two favorites. Right, but the thing is, catching a vision for your life and cultivating that, then it begins to flower out and grow into what is the vision for this community, right? What is our vision? And we'll be diving into that this year. What is the divine vision? And then what is the part for each of us to play? And what is the vision for the world we live in? Because like I said, the very first time we had service 3 weeks ago, can you believe this is the third week? I feel like I've been here for a long time. Oh, well, thank you. I like this group. But here's the thing that's so amazing. If we don't have a vision for ourselves and our world, then we will live at the mercy of someone else's vision. Right? Because I tell you, the things that right now are things that you might be upset about, that you're seeing, things that are happening, things that are going on politically. I'm talking about the political climate right now. Trust me, the folks who are creating all this have a vision, have had it for a long time, have planned it, strategized it, right? So the thing is, it's time now to be about vision. What kind of world do we want to live in? And we can't want to live in a world where we're resisting something else. That is not fruitful. That is not fruitful. What is it that we want to create? How do we want to live? How do we want to be? That is fruitful. That is creative. That begets something. But we can't be against something, right? And so right now we have this massive opportunity to really settle into what is the divine idea. What is the divine idea for us as humanity, for us in this country? What is the divine idea? And then what is my part to play in that? And that will begin then to move you into right action. And for some people, right action will look like running out into the streets marching, right? And for some people, it will look like sitting behind a computer doing something. And for some people, it will look like tending to your family. And for some people, it will look like making incredible music. And for some people, it will look like running a great business. And for some people, it will look like just bringing joy wherever you can, playing music in a hospital, right? Playing golf on the golf course and having great conversations, right? Serving on boards, counseling people, Are y'all following me here? Yeah. So this is what I really want us to get. The time is calling us, and it's right now. It is right now. There is no mistake that we're all in this room together. There is no mistake that we're all in this space together at this time in history. There is work for us to do. There's a vision for us to birth, right? There's a community for us to build. There are people right now, who are looking for us, who want this, And they are finding their way to us. And it has nothing to do with any other spiritual community at all. So, beloveds, are you ready to be a disruptor? Yes. Are you ready to be a disruptor in your own life first? Yes. Right? Good. So here's your assignment for this week. You are going to look at some area in your life that is right now floating up to the top. There's an area in your life where you have been living the status quo and living the status quo and living the status quo. And it is now time to move to the next level. It is now time to be so anchored in love that it breaks up the status quo, that it moves you forward, that love disrupts those strategies that you've been doing that are tired, the habits that are tired, the patterns that are tired, that are not getting you what you want, right? So being so rooted in love that it begins to roll through those patterns and break up those old ideas and break up those paradigms and renew and recharge and remake your life. That is your assignment for the week, is to look at what is the area of my life that I am ready to disrupt. And it can be a harmonious disruption. You can claim that, right? A harmonious disruption. You don't want to go out of business, right? Are y'all following me? Yeah. So that is your assignment for the week, to really look at that for yourself. Okay? Okay. All right, let's turn within, y'all.